Hi, I'm Chelsea, and today I'm going to show you how to edit outdoor natural portraits from beginning to end. First of all, you should look in the description because I'm providing a copy of this picture down there, and then you can follow along. So you do that. All right, so the first thing I like to do when I look at my portrait is just kind of figure out what's going on here. So I like to adjust the exposure and the color and just fix all of the general big things before I get into little edits like editing the skin. One problem with this picture, this happens kind of often, is that the color of the leaves tinted her skin. You can see that she looks a little bit green. This would have been a good time to use a gray card, but I did not do that. So I'm just going to cool it a little bit and just take a bit of the green out of the picture. I'll probably end up warming it up later anyway, but what's going on here? But that looks a little bit better. Okay, so next I'm going to go in and instead of taking out every individual little blemish, I'm going to work on smoothing out her skin a little bit. So I selected the adjustment brush here, and I'm going to zoom in, doing Control Plus. And then I press my space bar to make this little hand and I can drag. All right. I'll press O and then I can see a mask. So now that I made her look like the Hulk or the Jelly Green Giant or whatever your pop culture reference of choice is, I'm going to go in here to the erase tool. I've got the flow all the way up and I'm going to deselect her eyes because what I'm doing is softening the skin and you want the eyes to be sharp. Come on. You want her eyebrows to be sharp-ish. I'm actually going to put the flow down, or the feathering up, I guess. Will help. Make sure that our lips are not selected. And I like to get into the habit of also selecting the neck or any showing skin if I'll be doing edits to the whole face, like softening the skin. Otherwise, you'll have like a really soft or tan face and then the neck. Like, we can't forget the neck, guys. That's important. All right, so let me press O. And this looks crazy because my exposure is up. I'll go to custom and instead go to soften skin. And that smoothed her out an unnatural and undesirable amount. So I'm going to raise the clarity, but also lower the sharpness. See what they do with this kind of effect that they give you is they lower the clarity, but they also up the sharpness to put some texture in the skin. You don't want that as much. So we'll lower the sharpness. We'll raise the clarity. She's young. She doesn't need to be smoothed out that much. Okay. So now we will apply a new mask. And here we're going to raise the exposure by lightening. I like to get under the eyes and somewhat of a triangle, kind of like Rembrandt lighting. This brightens the eyes. A big mistake that people make is when they're trying to enhance the eyes, they just do the iris and then the person has dark shadows and then boom, really bright eyes. That makes absolutely no sense. When you're lighting the eyes, you're not just lighting the iris. You're lightening all around them. So if you want it to look natural, you've got to think about that. I'm going to bring the flow down a little bit just to blend it. You can see a hard line was forming. Just going to blend that in. We can put on O so you can see what I'm doing better. Oh, this poor girl. What am I doing to you? Okay. think that I'm actually going to raise the exposure of the entire eye, actually. We'll see if this works. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. So that looks natural. I'll make a new mask. And now I'm going to do the rest of my dodging on the face. And I use my right and left bracket tool to adjust my brush. If you have a Wacom tablet, you can do it from there. I just don't. It's just not a preference that I have. This is really sharp. Let me feather it. You want to highlight the bone above your eyes, the bridge of the nose, a little bit of the forehead here, the cheekbones, sometimes the chin. You're just accentuating the bone structure of the face. And let me take the mask off so we can see what's actually happening. And it looks a little bit bright, so I'll just lower it a bit. Now we'll make a new mask, a lot of masks. That's kind of the secret. And then we'll burn. And you want to do what they say, burning in the hairline. Let's get that mask again. Sometimes I squint a little bit to see where the natural shadows are. I want to work with her bone structure so it looks like her, not try to create things that aren't there. This was done for a student, for a high school portrait shoot. It's not like I'm putting it in a magazine or anything. I want it to look like her, so I try not to change the person too much. I wouldn't change her hair color, her eye color, or remove any birthmarks if she didn't want me to. Then you just define the nose a little bit by getting along the edges. And that can narrow the nose, but also add just a bit more definition to the nose. Okay, so this is a little bit dark. You want it to blend naturally. Less is more. I see a lot of people do more dramatic things, and I think that's great if you're just doing it for your portfolio or a magazine, or it's more about your personal art. When I'm working for a client, I like to just keep it natural. I want them to see the best version of themselves. It's not really all about me at that point. Okay. So I did dodging and burning on the face to bring out her bone structure, and I lightened under her eyes a bit. Now I'm going to bring out her eyes. I did some of that by lightening up under her eyes, but now I'll focus on her iris. This was in shadows. We had a high ISO here, we must have. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit noisy, but you know what? Nobody's perfect. Still look good. Cool little effect in here too is iris enhance. I like to zoom back and just make sure I don't do too much. It helps to see it from different zooms, all the way zoomed in, all the way zoomed back. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do a new mask, and let's burn in her eyelashes and her eye makeup a little bit to make it more dramatic. Makes the eyes look bigger. We're going to do a new mask again and keep it on burn. I'm going to burn in her eyebrows just a tad. No, you guys are like, you said keep it natural. You're going crazy. It's going to look fine. Trust me. Just chill out. Just adding that natural arch back in. Okay. That looks good to me. I'll do new again, and I'm going to whiten her teeth. She already has really nice teeth. You don't have to do too much. When working with the teeth, I always like to have the mask on because you don't want to whiten the gums or the lips. Okay, that's a little bit too white for me, so I'll just bring it up a bit. I'm going to do new again. I'm just kind of going above and beyond for y'all because I'm going to select her hair. And I'm not going to put teeth whitening on it, even though that's what's selected now. I'll change it after I select it. I'm kind of experimenting. Sometimes this looks good and sometimes it doesn't. What I'm doing is adding a little more saturation to the hair. I'm adding a little more saturation to the hair. Sometimes I up the exposure or bring up the highlights and it can add more dimension to the hair. So let's see what happens. Let's take off teeth whitening. Let's go to saturation. There it is. We add a little saturation. I like to add a bit of contrast. Bring up the highlights. You can even warm it up a little bit if you want to. Ooh, too much, too much. Okay. So now I like to see a before and after, and you can just see she looks a little softer. Her eyes are a bit brighter. And let's go in and do those fine edits that I was talking about at the beginning. She's just got a few blemishes. She has beautiful skin, but happens to the best of us. Okay, now let's go into the spot removal tool and just get rid of a few of these blemishes. Why would you do that? I like to just choose the skin next to it. If there's different shadows in it, you have to be sure to match them. Makes my job easier when someone has nice skin. Again, I'm using the right and left bracket tool to control the sizes of my brushes. Any little freckles or blemishes, beauty marks like that, that's her. I wouldn't take anything out like that in this situation. If you are doing something more glamorous, then of course you can just do it to your taste if you're hiring your model or something like that. Or if you're shooting glamour, be acceptable. Okay, so I got rid of a lot of the blemishes, smoothed their skin out a bit, and as you can see, she still looks like herself. Let's look at the before and after, and she still looks great. She looks really natural. It looks like her. but just her on her best day.